This is Camera Sim. I'm going to give a brief introduction and then we're going to talk about one section of it. Camera Sim is a software that you rent for the year, and it helps us get understanding about how to use and get better exposures. It's an important part, getting better exposures that is, and an important part of getting better images. And we didn't cover that very much in the essentials or the fundamentals class. When you look at the site after you sign in, there's a Camera Sim which will be loaded on the computers downstairs. We won't deal with the original version. This is the professional version. There's an exposure contraption, DSLR is explained, exposure compensation, and a focusing on the frame shot. We're going to work on the DSLR explained and the Camera Sim Pro. So let me start this off and we'll talk about this a little bit. So when you come up, it has a this works on Adobe Flash Player, and so you have to click Start to start the project. Top left, these are the lighting conditions. First it's on sunlight, cloudy but bright sun, strictly clouds, indoor or tungsten lighting, and a very low light situation. So I'm going to go back to bright sun. When you look at a camera, here's the way it operates. The lens has an opening. That's called the aperture. And the opening in the lens varies in size. And it's measured in numbers. So f16 is a small opening, as you can see right here. If I go down and open this up to f2.8, that's a very wide opening. So the smaller number lets in more light because the hole in the lens is bigger. Okay, so f16 doesn't let very much, f20 but look how little this goes. Not many lenses go to f36, and many of our lenses only go down here to f4.5. The shutter is the part of the camera which opens the window or the curtain that lets the light from the lens get to the back where the sensor is. It's measured in seconds or fractions of a second. So 1/25th of a second is relatively fast. You can come down here and you can shoot at 1 full second. So the shutter is open for 1 full second. Now, the trick here is that you cannot successfully handhold a shot with lower than about a 60th of a second. So that is one of your goals. You want to remember that, a 60th of a second. ISO is basically the speed or the sensitivity of your camera's image sensor on the back. And this basically goes from rather low, right now it's at 100. ISO stands for International Standards Organization. And so it goes from 100, which is relatively slow, not very sensitive, all the way up to 200, 400, 800, 1600. Let's see what this one goes up. This goes up to 6400. When you're at a high speed like this, you get a lot of noise in the picture. At a low speed, you don't get much noise. Here's the trick. Low speed takes more light than high speed does. So let's take a look at this step by step. So the aperture, the light comes in the camera, goes through the hole in the lens. The shutter opens up and lets the light from the lens into the camera where it's captured on the back with the sensor. So let's take a look at that. Up here, let me show you this. This is your exposure indicator. Right now, the camera at f4.5, 1/60th, 800 is overexposed by 2 stops. Where do you want this to be? Either right here at the middle or 1 click to the left of it. Anything that is over to the right here is overexposed and you can't get that image back. So let's look at how this works. Shutter of f4.5, there's the opening, light comes through the lens. I'm sorry, aperture, I said. That's the aperture. So this is 4.5. Shutter at a 60th of a second, you know, relatively slow. And ISO of 800. So let's take a look at what it looks like. Boy, that's terrible. That's terrible. So let's adjust this. Let's adjust this to a better number, huh? Okay, so let's get this back to where it normally wants to be. So we're in bright sun, f16, that says that's good. 125 is good. 100 is good. Let's take a look at that. So this gets us right here. I'm going to make this, I'm going to go up one more click. There we go. I'm going to go to 1/160th, and I'll put the indicator one click to the left because I know I can color correct that. Let's see what this exposure does. Light goes through, small opening, f16, small opening. 1/160th, fast shutter speed. 100 for ISO is relatively slow ISO. Let's look at the picture. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, let's say we want to have the background be more out of focus. I'll do that in the next video.